how do you do it? That's what we want to know, to people that live very long, healthy lives, that have very long, healthy marriages, that do all kinds of things that last a long time. I mean, right? That's like a big mystery to life.
Yeah.
How do you make it last? What's the secret? I think the secret is just knowing what battles to pick. That's my theory. Pick and choose your battles, particularly when it comes to marriage. Speaking, coming from the perspective of two happily married people, this is certified financial planner Mike Douglas.
We use the phrase a lot. There's hills to die on, and there's hills to lie on. Right? Sometimes you live to fight another day. Other times you got to stand your ground. Right?
That's it. That's the takeaway. This is certified financial planner Mike Douglas, also known as Michigan's retirement coach. I'm at the branch here to ask Mike how we can expect longevity for the years ahead. And there's so many different ways, so many different perspectives we could take. You and Kimberly, you guys, so Kyle and I are getting ready. We're going to celebrate our 9-year anniversary in the next couple of months. So anybody that's, for most people that are, in the phase of life retirement age, they're 9 years, children in this marriage game.
You pups.
How long have you and Kimberly been married?
We just had our 18th wedding anniversary.
How long have you been together? You were together for a few years before you got married, right?
We dated for a year and a half before we got married, but we were best friends for several years before that.
Right. So you've known each other for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And been together almost 20 years.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. So that's some longevity there. What's the secret? The hill to die on, the hill to lie on?
Yeah. Live to fight another day. No, I think that I tell you what, and everybody, I love the fact that everybody has this perfect advice how to live the perfect life together. I'm so glad that Kimberly was my best friend first.
Right.
Because we really like hanging out together.
Yeah.
And that's not that's not an innuendo. Like that's like we really do enjoy it. Like we played on softball teams. We played in volleyball stuff. Our passions are the same. And we knew that from our friendship.
Yeah.
So like when I'm coaching our kids in sports and I'm a very passionate sports fan, right next to me on the bleacher is a more passionate sports fan who is just as invested. So that makes a big difference.
But see, for me, Kyle and I don't have a lot of similar interests. We like very different tastes in music, all these things, but we make each other laugh. We both have stand-up comedy, so there's enough there. And we do enjoy each other's company. I think that's the biggest test. Even if you have separate interests, the time you spend together needs to be, you enjoy the company of the other person.
Well, I've been talking to, so Gavin is almost 15. We've been talking for the past couple of years, trying to train up these young men, boys into good young men.
Because you've got 3 sons.
3 sons.
And 1 daughter.
Yeah, as of right now, they're almost 15, 13, and 11, and my daughter's 9. Yeah. And when you go through life, you want to find people. You and I talked about this off air a little bit too. We don't want to be so segmented away from the rest of the world that we don't have any differing thoughts in our lives. We want good diversity of thought.
Yeah.
But when you choose who to spend most of your time with, you want someone who has shared core values.
Yeah.
Right? We can disagree on stuff, but are our core principles the same? Are we both good people pursuing the same things? I told Gavin, I said, as you start looking into life and like, once you go to, if you go to college or whatever you do, and eventually you're going to find, some girl who you're going to find a great interest in. And one great thing to start with is, do we have the same core values? Are hobbies similar? One great thing is that when we first got married, Kimberly and I did all these things together. And then we had Gavin, and she wouldn't get mad at me for wanting to go play open gym basketball because I was an athlete when we met. We both love sports. And she goes, no, I get it. You want to go play basketball, go play basketball. That's way different than someone who has no appreciation of sports being like, why would you go play basketball when you got this son? Not like I was a band. Yeah. So I think that's a good thing. So we're having those conversations too. Like shared values are really, really important in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I think probably for a couple that's been together maybe 20, 30, 40 years of marriage, they're getting to retirement. Maybe a lot of couples, you probably see this, they haven't had the conversation about goals for retirement. What are our shared goals in this space? So before we dive into all those details, let's bring in Leanne Morgan is the Renaissance story of all Renaissance stories I've ever seen. I don't think she's 60 yet, but she's definitely in her 50s. And like, she is like this phase of life, like soaring her career. She's got this show on Netflix. She's doing stand-up. She was on the Emmys the other night. She is killing. Like all of a sudden in the last 5 years, just out of nowhere comes Leanne and taking over the world. And she was talking about how she and her husband, they've been married for more than 30 years. She was on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and he was like, what's the secret? He was asking, what's the secret? And this is Leanne Morgan in her response.
And I tell people all the time, I go, we go to bed mad. You know, they always say don't do that.
Don't go to bed angry, yeah.
Yeah, we go to bed mad because we're tired and we don't feel like resolving conflict. We've been having the same fight for 30-something years.
About what? About what?
I'm messy. Yes, he's type A, anal retentive. Everything's in its place, and I'm fun, you know?
Kyle's the messy one in our relationship, but I would claim to be the fun one in our marriage. But thinking about, and listen, the work that you do at LifePlan Financial Design, working with single people, particularly when it's a widow or a widower circumstance, that is very important to work to you. You take that very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about couples in retirement. One, longevity. How do we figure out a plan that's designed to last for 30 plus years? And two, thinking about the married couples you work with, lessons that you can share on how to enter this next phase of life based on the conversations you've seen unfold right in front of you at work.
Yeah, I think there's really 5 keys or secrets, 5 secrets to making a retirement plan that will last.
Okay.
And I think that when we make these lists and we make these plans, if you do them with a 30 to 40 year mindset, it shapes the way you make them, right? It becomes less and less about the rate of return and more about the longevity and durability of a plan. So 5 secrets to making a retirement plan that lasts. Number 1, figuring out how to turn your retirement savings into a paycheck. And it sounds very rudimentary, sounds very, very basic. But time and time again, when we sit down with people, they say, we just don't know where to pull from when we retire. As long as you're working, someone else pays you a paycheck. You show up to work, they pay you a paycheck. And that's a beautiful thing. Then you retire and maybe you have a 401k, a Roth IRA, maybe a brokerage account or whatever types of investments you have. And when I pull, where I pull from, what are the tax consequences? What is the most secure way and longevity-based way to pull retirement income? So turning savings into a paycheck is one of the biggest challenges people face. Starting with that will help secure the rest of your plan. So number 1, figure out how to turn your savings into a paycheck.
Okay.
Number 2, make taxes your friend, not your enemy.
Wash your mouth out with soap, sir.
Yeah, exactly. I heard a great one is that in one of the things we read earlier is that if retirement is a giant game of tennis match, taxes is your doubles partner. That's it. They will be with you the whole way through. Yeah. So when we look at taxes, typically as people, we say, all right, what do I have to pay this year? And that's it. We don't look at taxes in a 20 to 30 year time frame. A good retirement plan looks at taxes not just this year or next year or last year, but over the next 30 years. How much am I estimated to pay? And what can I do to bring that number down legally? Using the rules of the tax code to my advantage, using things that will help me that other people aren't using to win this game. That's what it is. The IRS can be a major expense in retirement, or you can build a strategy that says, all right, looking at the time frames, looking at the tax law, looking at the brackets and all the potential changes in the future, here's how I play to win this game. We use things like our virtual family office or our Roth conversion models or our long-term capital gains harvesting. We use a lot of different strategies and ways to say, here's how we can keep more of your money inside your family. Because if we sit down, what's interesting is we look at our accounts as a big number. When we retire, you have 1.5 million or 800,000 or whatever the number is, you retire and that's what I have to save. And then we say, all right, how much can I take out per year? And so we look at these big picture things, except for taxes, where we say 1 year at a time. If you have $1 million or 1.5 or $2 million over the next 30 years, you'll probably pay somewhere in the range of $1 million to $2 million in taxes. We want to shrink that number down the best way we can. Legally, following the rules, but playing within the rules. So number one is turn your savings into a retirement paycheck. Number 2, make taxes your friend, not your enemy. Number 3, plan for the what-ifs. There's a lot of things we can't control in life. 1, we can't control if we get sick, or we can't control if we get hit by a car. We can't control if we end up a widow or widower. We can't control a lot of those things. We can't control if we need long-term care. how do we plan for those?
Right.
How do you plan for the what ifs? Well, if you just go by a model that says, if I take out 4%, I should be okay, there's not a lot of planning for what ifs in there. So when we run through models and scenarios, we say, hey, you know what? If I need long-term care, what is the actual cost of long-term care in my area? Because you see these articles and they'll say 10 grand a month, 12 grand a month, 15 grand a month, but they're using national numbers, not your local numbers. So I look at the numbers across Michigan. What is it in Lansing, Grand Rapids, Detroit? What is the cost of long-term care? And how would we pay for that at the average age when you would need it? How does that affect the long-term plan? Should we be using a trust to protect assets? Should we be using an insurance company to foot the bill? Should we just be using our savings because we have enough that we can self-pay and it's better than paying an insurance company or paying an estate planning attorney? Whatever it is, you just have to figure out what makes the most sense for these what ifs. If my spouse dies young or if I die young, how does my family live and move on? And that looks different at every age. You get tons of term insurance at a young age. That way, when you have these 4 kids like I have, if something were to happen to me, that there's more than enough to take care of Kimberly the rest of her life and get my kids to being adults, right? So there's all these things you have to factor in, and those needs change over time. Yeah. When you retire, you say, well, now we've got these 2 Social Security benefits. If I die, what happens? Well, Kimberly would get my benefit. It's larger. Hers goes away. And so we have to figure out those numbers. And if you have a pension, what is the survivorship? Those are the what ifs that can be built into strategy, and just know the consequences of them and then change your investments accordingly. So number 3, plan for the what ifs. Number 4, don't just save, spend with purpose. The day you retire is probably the healthiest day of the rest of your life.
Okay.
So don't wait 8 to 10 years because it goes by like that. And all of a sudden, now I'm 75. And people, it's so funny. So many clients tell me, gosh, Mike, your kids are at a great age. You're going to blink and it's going to be over. And I kind of say the same to them, like, guys, you're 65 now. And I'm sitting with clients every day that say, man, you blink and you're 75. Yeah. So you're telling me don't rush through life and hang on to these moments with my kids, which I'm trying my absolute best to do. Yeah. And at the same time, you're scared to take the trip you've been waiting on because what if? So it's all of us. Life goes by quick. Don't wait for the future to do the things you need to be doing today. Take those first 10 years of retirement and do everything on your bucket list. Go everywhere you want to go, see who you want to see, talk to who you want to talk to, do everything. That way at 75, when your body starts to slow down a little bit and your desire starts to slow down and you go from the must go years into the might go years, you've already done the stuff you needed to do. And now you can just be grateful and reflective and enjoying that time a little differently. Number 5, work with a guide who knows you, not just your numbers. Anybody who listens to this program or watches us or hears our radio or TV, my thoughts on working with an independent advisor versus an 800 number in a big box firm. Mm-hmm. I think there's huge value in it. I really do. Someone who actually gets it, who can give you tax advice and strategies, who can give you estate planning advice and strategies, who can give you investment and risk management and income strategies and long-term care strategies, rather than calling an 800 number and they tell you can probably take out 4% of your account and be okay. That's the difference in a real plan. A plan that factors all of the stuff in that you can sit across from. I love digital efficiency. I like the fact that we can do Teams meetings. I like the fact that we can, that last night I took a call from somebody there in Grand Rapids. I'm out in Lansing and we're having these phone calls to go over their plan and help adjust things. I like all that. Yeah. But there is something powerful at sitting across a conference table from someone who gets it, who lives in your community, who breathes your community, who is part of that same world. And when you sit down and you say, hey, here's what we're looking at doing, I can say, oh, I know that. I've been on that trip. We go boating at the same place. There is a power to community, and more seniors need community. And I think even if it's with your financial professionals, having a financial advisor who's local and is part of your community is a beautiful thing, because now we're in this thing together. And we're not the same age. I'm 41. I'll be 42 this week. And we're not the same age, but we're in this thing together and we're here as people talking together. And it's not an 800 number calling Boston or Chicago or New York or wherever. It's an actual person right here. So I think there's tremendous power in that. I know some people disagree. They'd rather work with the big box firms. They can have like one of those names on the letterhead. I mean, Charles Schwab is still the biggest letterhead just about you can have for institutional trading. And that's who we work with. So It's very doable to have the big box power, but with a local representative, local advisor who cares more about you than they do about the letterhead.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Okay.
So number one, turn your savings into a retirement paycheck. Number two, make taxes your friend, not your enemy. Number three, plan for the what ifs. Number four, don't just save, spend with purpose. And number five, work with a guide who knows you, not just your numbers.
Mike and his team, they are here to be that guide through the process of retirement planning, not just to retirement, but through your retirement, because life doesn't stop once you retire. Life happens, things continue. Obviously, that's what you want to happen in retirement. You want life to continue and to go on. So having somebody that's going to be there with you as your plan evolves and grows and changes, that's what Mike and his team, they're here to be with you, a guide to walk alongside you throughout the years ahead. So michigansretirementcoach.com is our website and where to find Mike and his team, begin that conversation. We've also got links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there. Also, I'm going to say this on behalf of the ladies. Don't not have your wife or your husband, but a lot of women don't get involved in these conversations. Make sure that both spousal parties are together and very much aware of what the plan is and where you guys are headed in the years ahead. Again, Mike and his team happy to help navigate the conversation between husbands and wives as well. There's a lot that goes into this planning process. So let's start that conversation. Find us at michigansretirementcoach.com.